We're all aware of some new mums struggling with postnatal depression after having a baby, and we're told about the symptoms and what to look out for. But did you know that postnatal depression can affect men too?
Well, 1 in 10 dads report symptoms of depression in the first year after welcoming a new baby, with first-time fathers being particularly vulnerable.
In just a moment, we'll speak to a father who suffered from severe depression after the birth of his first son. But first, Dr Larisa is here to explain more about this. Good morning, Larisa. I'm so pleased that we're doing this today because I read the brief last night and it's just something not spoken about and something that I guess that there's not really been a sort of label put on it, and that we're aware of, you know, of men really suffering in the same way that women do around pregnancy and after birth.
Yeah, exactly. There's a huge amount of stigma around mental health generally, but in particular when it comes to men, and then when it comes to postnatal depression in men. I mean, it's something that most people won't even have heard of. But in actual fact, it's almost as common as it is in women. So 1 in 10 dads will suffer postnatal or antenatal depression.
Right.
It may, in fact, be more common than that because these are men who come out and report symptoms, but we know there's an awful lot who actually don't have the confidence to do that as well.
Yeah.
And if their partner's affected by depression, then that number goes up to a lot more. So if their partner does suffer from the symptoms of depression when they're pregnant and afterwards, then there's a 50% chance that the man, so the dad, can also get it as well. So that's really huge and really significant, but yet it's not discussed. And the problem, I'd say, is even bigger during the pandemic now, because as we all know, mental health has been such a huge feature. Lots of people haven't been able to access normal services. Many women who've been pregnant, and you'll sympathise with this, Michelle, as well, you know, haven't been able to access their normal, regular care and have that support. And I think for men, they've been in this really helpless position of wanting to help their partner and to be there for them, but also seeing them suffer in amongst it all, not being able to attend scans and appointments and not being able to be around.
Feeling a little bit redundant, maybe, you know.
Yeah,
Well,
absolutely.
and there is this common misconception that hormones, the change in a mother during pregnancy, are the only reason that might contribute to any kind of mental health problems. But there are so many contributing factors that might get someone into that place, aren't there?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's things such as your partner being affected, which we've just discussed, and also financial worries, concerns, just regular stress that you might have that comes around your job, and the fact that, you know, one of you may not be earning as much and may need to be doing longer hours. Again, that's sort of been precipitated and made worse by the pandemic. And also the fact that, you know, lots of people may have suffered from symptoms of depression in the past, triggered by certain things such as losing a job, for example. And again, if that happens during this time, then that's something that can really tip you over the edge. But mentioning hormones, yes, again, another thing that really isn't discussed very much is the fact that hormones can change in men as well. And during the time that their partner's pregnant and afterwards, men's testosterone levels have been proven to reduce and their estrogen levels to go up, which can make them more predisposed to depression, but actually it's a natural phenomenon to help them to bond with the baby. So there's good sides to this as well, but also the fact that they can be more prone to low mood.
And how can you get help if you're male and you're worried about yourself, and you've noticed that, if you're listening to this, for example, and you say that's exactly how I've been feeling, or if you are the mother and you have noticed it in your partner?
Yeah, so the most important thing is to recognise that there is an issue and to be upfront about it and to seek help from people. So to talk about it with your partner and to not feel bad bringing it up. I think there's an awful lot of guilt that's attached. And, you know, it's very normal when, you know, a new baby comes into the world and into your relationships, the power dynamics change all of a sudden. And actually there could be some resentment and anger that stems out of that due to the fact that the mother has to pretty much spend all of the time attending to the baby. And so it's very natural to feel those things. So being vocal, seeking help from outside, talking to your partner, talking to your friends, and also seeking help from national charities and trusts and Facebook groups. There's a lot of chat about this now, so it's really important to access that help.
Brilliant.
Well, we've got someone down the line who has been experiencing all of those things that we've just spoken about, including asking for help. Someone who suffered both antenatal and postnatal depression with the birth of his first son, and that is James. Good morning to you, James.
Good morning, James.
Morning.
So you're happy to speak about it now, but that wasn't always the case, especially in the first few months of your wife's pregnancy when the anxieties started to sort of come through. Just talk us through those early months and when you started to feel like some of those feelings that you were feeling weren't necessarily the traditional feelings that a new parent should be going through.
Well, I think you say it. It's you know how you should be feeling or how you're told you should be feeling. And when you don't have those feelings, you think that something's wrong. And by the midpoint in Hannah's pregnancy, all I could think about was, as mentioned before, responsibility, support that I should be offering her and eventually offering my new child. They begin to snowball. When unchecked, actually they've become worries, actually anxieties, actually fears and panic-inducing until probably at the 7-month period. In terms of whether antenatal or just depression, all I could scream at myself is, you can't do this. No one can know, but this is your failure that is guaranteed. You are hopeless and helpless. And ultimately, you begin to simply loathe yourself. Failing as a father means failing as a partner, a man, a human being ostracized from society. It sounds extreme, but that's how catastrophization works.
That's how you're feeling. And I was reading, and you were saying even when people, friends, family would be positive and would give you compliments saying things like, you're going to be such a good dad, are you excited? That would even sort of snowball and make you feel, no, I'm not, I'm going to be a failure.
Definitely when you're a healthy dad, then that's great. That's affirmation, that's confidence boosting.
Yeah.
But when you're suffering, it's just an extra burden. People would say kind of every second given to Hannah, her physical and mental well-being is absolutely correct. With dads, it's the idea I think a lot of dads experience sidelines, being an addition, a sidecar, whereby I was asked, how are you doing? Yeah, I'm fine, good. Any worries? Yeah, a bit of sleep. You're going to be great, don't worry. Which essentially inspires two thoughts. I'm not, you're wrong, I'm going to let you down, I'm going to let everyone down, and you don't actually care what the answer is. This is just rhetorical. You're fine, anyway, move on. Really exasperating the feeling that it is just almost biological, my responsibility to be this support, to be this pillar. No one wants to know the foundations are in fact crumbling.
And you felt that pressure that you actually had to stay silent, didn't you, James? And what made it even more difficult was the little Ted came 5 years ago and you didn't have that bond, as many parents don't have. You had this moment where you couldn't even say, I love you to your little boy. But I know that it was your wife, Hannah, that was kind of instrumental in helping you turn that round and actually find some help. So talk us through that process.
Yeah, I think I'm just really lucky that I had a family, both hers and mine and her, who was supportive. I'd opened up a little bit just before the pregnancy, but more in the hope that maybe it would all become better just as soon as I saw that, that little baby. And of course, that's not how mental health worked and works, and it didn't. I remember simply feeling nothing, holding Ted in the hospital and never wanting to leave, because then I would have to be the father that, for sure, I couldn't be. I mean, that is my attempt at a smile. I was broken. And all I would do is in sort of the privacy of our living room when I was home, Hannah would be upstairs resting. I would simply be holding Ted and telling him I was sorry and being in tears and just wishing that he had a better dad or any other dad and that, he was better off without me. But Hannah was just incredibly accommodating at all stages. She did come with me to escape to my mum's on the Isle of Wight, where was it going to be better? And in the end, because she was a great mum, she knew she had to get some routine in her life and took Ted back home. Her parents supported her, and I spiraled before, again, fortunately, being able to access therapy. I hadn't until that moment where all hope was gone and I was ready to hold my hand up and say, I've got nothing left. Did I seek even a GP appointment?
Well, I know things have changed for you now. Not only have you got another little boy, Charlie, who's come into your life, and things have been so much more different for the two of you bonding, and you're all a happy family of 4. But you're also become an ambassador to a new parents sort of campaign, and for you, it's all about speaking out. And I can't tell you enough, James, just how amazing it is for you to come and bring this to so many people's attention right now. We're so thankful and also really happy that you're in a much better place right now.
Thank you very much.
Hopefully I can help.
No, you absolutely will, absolutely.
It really
thank
has.
You very much.
And thank you to you,
Thanks,
Larisa, as well.
Thank you. Thanks for covering the subject.
No, I think it's
so
really important. Really important. Thank you.